The real estate market is in a very, very interesting spot right now. A lot of buyers, a lot of sellers are concerned about the supposed market crash, the crash that is coming. It is not happening. There's no crash. The market is just changing compared to the market crash in 07. That is what we are helping our buyers understand. We're helping our sellers understand. We don't need to be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. It's just a different time. But it's important for us to explain to you what's really going on to answer those questions that everyone's wondering. Knowing this market, learning as it shifts, and being able to educate our buyers and sellers as these changes take place over the next few months is very important. That is going to allow me to explain real life in real time what is going on in the market, what we have been seeing for our buyers, how that is going to play into the next few months into 2023. Anyone that watches this video that is looking to buy is really, really ready to make that step, how they can take what we are teaching and not be so afraid of all of this scary talk of these astronomical interest rate, this market crash that is for sure coming. It's important to know and to have someone to advocate for you and explain you are making the best decision for yourself when it comes to purchasing a home. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to get into it right now. So stay with us because we have a lot of information coming your way. Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Living in Fort Wayne. If you don't know me already, my name is Frankie Dials. I'm a realtor here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We work alongside so many buyers that are looking to relocate here to Fort Wayne, and we love being able to help other individuals come this way, find the homes they love. If you guys have been watching the news, looking on any sort of social media platform, you guys have probably been hearing about the market shift, interest rates, crash, all those things, and why that is affecting buyers and sellers' behavior compared to what we were seeing earlier this year and in 2021. It's very different and things are changing. It's just a different time. I would say it's a learning time for buyers and sellers. That's what it is. We're here to explain those things and help better clarify some of these questions that people have about what's going on. Now, if I was an outsider, not looking to buy or sell anytime soon, but they're looking at the market and they're thinking to themselves, housing prices should be decreasing, correct? That's what they're thinking. That's what I think a lot of people are thinking in this market, that should be happening, but it is not. What we are actually seeing is prices increase as well as inventory increase. With the prices coming up, we are seeing more houses sit on the market. So our inventory is rising. Now, because of that, a lot of people are thinking we are headed into another crash. Numbers are very different than they were in 07. 20% from August of 2021 to August of 2022. So a pretty significant jump. It is up 40% from September to September. We're currently sitting at 1.4 months supply of active homes currently on the market. A little more precisely, that's a little bit over 1,000 homes. A month supply of inventory means that if there were no new homes to come on the market, what we got is what we got. It would take 1.4 months to sell those homes based on the current absorption rate. That's the fact that we have that 1.4 month supply or a little bit over 1,000 homes on the market. That is why we have not been seeing the price decreases like we were seeing in the crash of 07, because even though our inventory is higher, it is not as high as it was in 07, which we were looking at more like 7 to 9 months supply, which is anywhere from about 4,000 to 5,500 homes. Very different. So that is why we have not been seeing this change of prices like we saw in 07. The shift that we're actually seeing now, which is kind of funny because everybody's been so used to like this hyper sellers market. Like that's just what everyone's used to. Us as agents view it differently. The market now is not anything like we were seeing in 07. Knowing what's going on in the market and being able to explain it for the people that we work with, especially when they're relocating, market here compared to the market in California It's different. Shift that we're seeing is actually more of like a normalized market. It's where homes sitting a little bit longer. I mean, think about it. Or like even when we bought my first home when I was in college, the house that I stayed in and I rented with friends, the house that we bought was sitting on the market for, if I remember correctly, probably like 25, 30 days. The seller wasn't stressed. It wasn't like this huge issue. It was just different. We put an offer on the house. It was lower than the list price, but it wasn't a huge thing. It wasn't like they were offended or anything like that. I don't know. It was just a different time. Back then, that was normal. All these things that no one has been used to seeing in previous markets. Now we're actually seeing something that's a little more normal. But we are also starting to notice something called panic selling, where sellers are kind of freaking out because they think that they're witnessing again another crash. They're putting their home on the market and they're just pricing it at what they think that they can get for it based off of what was taking place earlier this year and in 2021. You honestly just can't do that anymore. Inventory is increasing because there are less people buying. Part of that is because the interest rates earlier this year, beginning of 2022, 2021, we saw interest rates that were 2.5, 3%. That is not where they are at anymore. So 6 months ago, you were possibly going to be buying a $500,000 house back in January. Let's say your interest was 3%. Every point that your interest rate increases, that also increases your monthly mortgage payment about $100. That house in January that you were going to buy for $500,000, it is $600. It was $600 cheaper $600 cheaper back then than it is now monthly payment. That's big. I mean, that's huge for some people. As I've been mentioning earlier, there's no more bidding wars. We are still seeing a few of them, but we're not seeing as many as we were. The way that the market is set up, the way that interest rates are looking, the way that buyers are, there's just not as many offers coming across the table. Not as many people saying, I'm willing to go $40,000, $50,000 over what this home is listed at. It's just not happening the way it was earlier in this year. Number 3, make sure you got the right agent in your pocket. Having an agent that knows what they're talking about and understands what's going on in the market. We have been working with a lot of buyers that have been relocating and have to relocate. They don't have an option. They're moving here for a job. Like I've mentioned, affordability factor is huge for a lot of our out-of-state buyers. By us studying and looking at the market and staying on top of what's going on and being able to express this to our buyers and help them write an offer that is the most beneficial for them is huge. Number 4, there's more choices. Inventory. We talked about the inventory increasing. The inventory is increasing. You might not have you don't have to settle. You don't have to hustle, put an offer on a house, feel like you're having to give too much of what you're wanting. You have more choices. Homes are not going as quickly as they were, so they're not as stressed. They don't feel like they have to look at a home 5 minutes later, make a decision, have us write up an offer, have it in by 10 o'clock at night. Like literally it's like all of that has to take place in the same 2-hour time frame. You will know when you walk into a house if it's the right one, if it checks those boxes, if it makes you feel that like, oh, I can't wait to move in here, I can't wait to decorate, I can't wait to move my family in, this is what this room is going to be. If you walk into a house and that's how you feel, that's the one. And that's the one that you do want to put your best foot forward. You do want to put your strongest offer on the table, but you don't want to have to feel pressured into it. That's another thing. Don't ever feel like you don't ever want to feel like your agent is pressuring you into something because it's like, oh, well, this checks 7 of your 10 boxes. If there's more choices out there based on how the market is now, get more of those boxes checked. We've been seeing a lot less of the appraisal gap addendums. I'm telling you, that was crazy. Let me explain what an appraisal gap addendum is. An appraisal gap addendum is, let's say that you are buying a house that's listed at $550,000. We'll say listed at $550,000 and you put an offer for $600,000. Now the appraiser comes in, appraises the home, looks at comps in the neighborhood, and they appraise the house at, we'll say $570,000. Again, recap. House is listed at $550,000. You put an offer for $600,000 and you put an appraisal gap addendum. The house appraised at $570,000. What that means is, as the buyer, you are going to bring that $30,000 difference from the $570,000 to the $600,000 to the table, along with your other closing costs, out of pocket to the table. That is what an appraisal gap addendum is. We have been seeing a lot less of those. That was a very interesting time to see those come across the table and see that people were willing to bring such a large amount of cash to make up that difference, knowing that their house appraised for less than what they were going to purchase it for, which means you're basically in the negative. You're already losing out on money. Not as many waiving of inspections. As an agent, I know my buyer wants to waive an inspection. That is 100% their right. I personally would never recommend it. That is my choice as an agent. I don't personally recommend it because I have seen some very scary stories of people waiving inspections and getting into a home and having to deal with some astronomical costs from the jump. They could have had a seller take care of. They could have brought those findings from an inspection to the table and ask for the repairs and the more in-depth stuff. Foundation, they'll go into the crawl space or they'll look at the basement. They look at the roof. They look at all the mechanicals, water heaters, HVACs, up in the attic, if there's any mold. All those things come into play. And that's just like a typical home inspection. There's so many other inspections that you can have done. I've had many buyers do sewer scans because there are homes here in Fort Wayne that are older and a lot of them still have the clay pipe sewers. We will have sewer scans on those because those clay pipes eventually will start to fall apart and break, get holes in them from trees, rocks, debris, all that stuff, which will cause the sewer line to obviously not work properly. And those are factors that if I was buying a home, and I obviously want my buyers to know about, which is again, my personal reason of I don't recommend to my buyers to waive inspections. So we have been seeing a lot less of the waived inspections, which again, I think is a huge pro for buyers to not have to worry about, again, just that added stress factor of what am I getting myself into? And really having no idea what they might come across the moment they step into this new house. So that's a list of my pros. Pros we're looking at no more bidding wars. Well, again, not no more, but less. Sellers are a little more willing to look at offers that aren't necessarily at that high price point. Having a knowledgeable agent to represent you that understand what's going on in the market, that is a pro. That is a must. More choices, that's a pro. Two main things: no more crazy appraisal gap addendums where you got to bring $30,000 to $40,000 to the closing table. Just crazy. And no more waiving of inspections. We're still going to see them, but that's, I think, just very important for buyers to not feel like they have to make those sacrifices in order to get a home that they love. I hope that brought some clarity to whoever watches this video. We are here to answer any questions that you may have. We love what we do. We enjoy learning. We enjoy being able to share our knowledge of the market with you. Leave a comment, reach out to us, let us help you however we can. We appreciate all of you. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out some of our other videos talking about neighborhoods, school districts here in the Fort Wayne area. And until next time, have a good one. Peace.